Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're actually stepping away from modern data sets and hard science to explore something incredibly ancient and honestly really profound. We are going to completely immerse ourselves in a deeply mystical text known as the Prayer of Thanksgiving. Now, this is a short but incredibly dense piece of spiritual wisdom, and by unpacking it together today, we're going to uncover some truly fascinating insights about the human experience, our place in the universe, and the tools we possess to understand the whole shebang. So settle in and let's dive into this ancient mystery. Actually, let's just skip the usual agenda today and jump straight into a massive central paradox. How does ancient wisdom turn the human body into something divine? Usually when we think of ancient mysticism, we imagine these philosophies trying to escape the physical body, right? Treating it like a trap. But this text completely flips that assumption on its head. And honestly, that's what makes it so uniquely captivating. So the text opens with just an absolute surge of emotion. It says, "We thank you. Every soul, every heart is lifted to you, undisturbed name, honored by the name God, praised by the name Father." Take a second and just let the emotional weight of that phrasing sink in. Every soul, every heart. It's this sweeping, universal statement of gratitude that instantly pulls you right into its incredibly peaceful, reverent atmosphere.
All right, part one, Introduction to the Prayer of Thanksgiving.
Okay, let's dive right into this and slow things down to really grasp what's happening. In that very first verse, the text does something brilliant. Over on the left, we see the divine described as being honored by the name God. Now that feels grand, right? A bit distant, maybe cosmic. But immediately on the right, it pivots to being praised by the name Father. So the source material is intentionally shifting our view. It takes the divine from a distant, untouchable entity and turns it into an intimate, nurturing, and deeply personal concept. And because of that intimate, fatherly nature, some very specific things flow down to us. According to the second verse, 3 gentle qualities arrive to everyone and everything. We get fatherly kindness, tenderness, and love. This universal delivery sets the entire foundation for the transformative teaching that's about to follow. It establishes a universe rooted entirely in warmth and care. Moving right along to part 2, reason, speech, and knowledge. You see, this fatherly love doesn't just sit passively in the background. It actually equips us. And this brilliantly illustrates the text's core triad, mapping out our human faculties to their ultimate divine purpose. We are given reason so that we might understand this divine source. We're given speech so that we might reveal it to others, and we're given knowledge so that we might truly know it. The implication here is absolutely massive. Our minds and our voices aren't just biological accidents. They have very distinct spiritual objectives. Reason, speech, knowledge. When you step back and just look at those 3 words, the structural symmetry of this ancient trinity is so satisfying. Like we just talked about, these aren't just human traits. In the context of this prayer, they are profound spiritual tools entrusted to us, specifically to bridge the gap between the human and the divine.
Which brings us to part 3, the joy of divine awakening.
Let's move to the next logical question here. What actually happens when a human being fully embraces and utilizes these spiritual gifts? Let's see how this builds. Verse 4 lays out a remarkably clear progression of awakening. Step 1, we are illuminated by knowledge. That's a profound mental shift. Step 2, the divine reveals itself directly to us through that illumination. And then step 3, the ultimate culmination. We are made divine in the flesh. Notice how that moves all the way from the abstract mind straight down into the physical body.
Divine in the flesh? I mean, wow. That is an astonishing statement. Like I mentioned at the start of the explainer, so many spiritual traditions teach that the physical body is a cage we need to break out of. But this text makes its boldest claim right here. Divinity is something achieved directly within the human body. The flesh isn't the enemy at all. It is the living, breathing vessel for ultimate realization.
And right after that, the text just erupts into celebration over this realization. We have known you, light of reason. Life of life, we have known you. The repetition there is electric, isn't it? We have known you. It acts as this joyous, triumphant declaration of success. These ancient writers aren't just endlessly seeking, they're boldly declaring that they've actually found exactly what they were looking for. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is the metaphor the author uses. The text refers to the divine as the womb of every creation, describing it as being pregnant with the essence of the Father. Obviously, this isn't a literal biological womb. It represents the ultimate fertile source of all existence. It's this grand, generative space where the very fabric of reality is conceived and nurtured. And the whole thing culminates in this incredible, almost mind-bending phrase, the eternal stability of the birthing father. Notice the fascinating, mystical blend of concepts happening here. We have masculine and feminine imagery beautifully woven together, operating simultaneously. It completely pushes past the limitations of human gender to honor the all-encompassing goodness of the universal source. So, we've reached this incredible peak in the text. We've explored universal love, the triumph of becoming divine in the flesh, and the cosmic womb of creation, which really begs the question, after achieving all of this divine knowledge, what is possibly left to ask for? Seriously, put yourself in the shoes of these ancient seekers. What do you pray for when you feel like you've already touched the ultimate truth? And that takes us to part 4, one final request. Right here, you guys, the entire tone of the source material shifts. We completely drop down from those transcendent cosmic heights right into a state of genuine vulnerability and grounded human humility. Just listen to this final verse. One request we ask, may we be preserved in knowledge. One protection we desire, that we do not stumble in this life. After all that profound mystical triumph, the authors humbly recognize their own fragility. They strip it all down, making just one single request and desiring just one single protection. So the absolutely crucial point is how this connects to us right here, right now. On one hand, we have the highest spiritual goal, being preserved in knowledge. But right beside it is the highly practical goal, not stumbling in this life. This ancient text brilliantly brings the mind all the way back from the cosmos to the dirt beneath our feet. It taps into that timeless, everyday human desire for resilience. It's a profound acknowledgement that knowing the grand truths of the universe is one thing, but actually walking through your daily life without falling apart, well, that's the real challenge.
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. How are you applying your own reason, speech, and knowledge so that you do not stumble in this life? Because the tools this ancient text talked about aren't locked away in some dusty history book. They're the exact faculties you're using to process this explainer right now. So take a moment today to recognize your own incredible capabilities and consider how you might use them to navigate your own path with just a little more clarity and purpose. Thanks so much for joining me today, and as always, keep learning.